Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today's question of the day before we get started is from my lovely friend Jen, who asked, when all this mess is over, what would be your dream vacation? This is really hard because I have a couple that are like on my bucket list. Firstly, I obviously would love to take my kids to Disney World. At the moment, like, my little boy certainly is a bit too young, like he's only just turned 4, and I really want it to be like they remember it and make amazing memories for a lifetime. And I feel like he's just too young, one, to get the most out of it and be able to go on lots of rides and things like that, and two, to really remember it. So we're kind of holding that one off for a few years until they're both a little bit older and can really get the full experience. The other one that I would love to do is I'd love to take my family to the Maldives. I've been before. It was probably the most incredible, amazing place I've ever been, and I would love to take my kids there and my husband because he has never been, so I would love to go back to the Maldives with my family. If you guys think of any questions, please ask me and put question of the day in the comments down below and I'll answer one of them in a future video. But back to the present, to today's video, and we are going to be talking about standout products from brands. I've chosen 10 brands, and the reason for choosing these particular 10 brands is they are brands that I have either tried or own a lot of different products from. So I feel like I really know these brands. I know their hits, their misses, their strengths, their weaknesses, what I love about them, what I don't. And really what I want to share with you is, if you have never tried these brands, if you aren't sure where to start with a particular brand, but you want to dive in and get something for the first time from a brand, but you don't know where to start, that's what the purpose of this video is kind of going to be today. Here's the product that I would recommend, is this brand's like standout, top notch, best of the best that they have to offer. A product that kind of represents that brand in product form, if you will. So if you are looking to pick up a first product or just one product from any of these brands, here is what I recommend you start with. Here is my pick from each of these brands. So let's start with Lancome. It's a very easy one for me, and it's mascara. You guys know how much I love Monsieur Big Mascara. It's the mascara I have on today. I've loved it for a lifetime. I've loved it for years. I've repurchased it 3 billion times. I think it's amazing, but I also think a lot of Lancome's other mascaras are also amazing, and people feel the same way about those other mascaras, like Hypnose. I can't remember all of the names off the top of my head, but there are lots. Doll Eyes, I really like Doll Eyes when I tried it in a sample size. They have some great mascaras, but this for me is the mascara of mascaras, and I feel like it is their absolute best of their brand's products that you can buy. In fact, one of the best mascaras non-stop. So if you're going to pick something up from Lancome, make it this. Next up, Pat McGrath. If you're going to pick something up from Pat McGrath, it's got to be her big palettes. This is Mothership, is it 6 or 7 now? This is Divine Rose. I forget if this is, I think it's Mothership 7 we decided, but this was a limited edition that I believe has gone again, but it seems to be coming back and forth. So I don't think, we still probably haven't seen the last of it. I'm sure it'll come back again. I know these palettes are crazy expensive, but everything from Pat McGrath is crazy expensive. So there isn't a cheap option there, but I feel like if you want to get, you know, what Pat McGrath is about, if you want something to own something from Pat McGrath that represents her and her brand, it's got to be one of these palettes. These palettes are unique. They are like nothing else I own or have ever tried, and I've tried pretty much all of it when it comes to eyeshadow. It's just, especially her special shades, these shades down here, there's just nothing like a Pat McGrath shadow. They are insanely stunning. Every time I wear a Pat McGrath palette in my videos, I get 100 times more questions about what's on your eyes or compliments on my eyeshadow. It just stands out. It looks like nothing else. They are just incredible. I just don't think you could ever really regret it. You know, I know it's really expensive, but to me it's totally worth the money. And if you are going to buy something from her brand, it has to be one of the motherships. Bear in mind though that Pat has, I think, 20 and 25% off on her website at the moment, and she does that several times a year. So, you know, if that is crazy money to you, definitely wait for one of her sales, because that is a massive amount off for a high-end brand. Like, she's the only brand I know that does that. Next up, Nars. Nars was a slightly trickier one when I first thought about it, because I was kind of tempted to go with like their foundations. I've loved a few of their foundations, but for me, when I think of Nars and I think of what excites me about that brand, it's the blushes. They have the most stunning blushes, and I feel like they truly have shades for everybody. They have incredibly pigmented, stunning shades that look best on deeper skin. They have everyday, natural, classic blushes that you just cannot go wrong, even on the palest, fairest of skins. They have something for everybody. I love the texture. I love the application you get with them. I just love everything about these blushes. This is Orgasm X. Not regular Orgasm, it's Orgasm X. This is Nars's Madly, which will forever be one of my top 5 favourite blushes. It's an absolute classic. And then this is Nars's Sin, which is a less spoken about blush, but just one that whenever I put it on, it's definitely for me more of a winter shade. Bit too light for me when I'm in my summer skin, and also just one that I feel like pairs better with winter looks because of the tone, that berry tone. But I just, whenever I put it on, I feel like, why don't I use this more? I think they're gorgeous blushes. I feel like Nars knocks it out of the park with their blushes. They have so many choices of shades. Everybody will find one from there. If you want to try something from Nars, pick a blush. Next up, Charlotte Tilbury. And what a tricky one this was, because I love Charlotte Tilbury. I love everything from her brand. Her brand is like made for me, because it is just the epitome of what I love about makeup. It's glowy, it's skin-like, it's natural. A lot of it is very tailored and flattering to more mature skin, women with texture, women with lines and wrinkles. A lot of it has skincare friendly ingredients. I just think she can do no wrong. So I could have chosen a million different things from Charlotte Tilbury. I love her blushes, her foundations, her primers, her highlights. I love it all. I love it all. But the standout product for me, the product that is the most unique for her brand, that I don't know any other brand that has anything like it, that touches it, are her wands. So I have a contour, I have a blush, and I have a highlight, and I love all of these. And you know me, I don't like liquids and creams apart from foundations and concealers and lipsticks. I don't like liquid and cream cheek products generally. These are amazing. My favorite ever contour product of all time. So bulletproof and easy, idiot proof I should have said, not bulletproof. Although that too, they smell lovely but not perfumed. Everything just got such a natural look and appearance to it. Everything is so easy, although creams and liquids that generally you don't find them easier than powders, but these just make it easy. They are so beautiful. And like I said, I just don't know a brand that does a product like this that is anywhere near as good. So this is the lighter contour shade, this is the new Pillow Talk highlight, and this is Pinkgasm. And I mean, they are just perfect. If you want to try something from Charlotte Tilbury, I would 100% recommend trying one of her wands. Obviously the colour is totally up to your preference and your skin tone, but you genuinely cannot go wrong. They are just stunning. A great place to start with Charlotte's brand, because I feel like they really represent her and what she's about. Next up, Hourglass. Again, another brand where I could have picked several products. I could have picked their powders, I could have picked their lip products, their glosses, I love those. But for me, it's definitely all about their face palettes. These are the palettes that everybody loses their mind for every holiday season. I feel like if you're gonna fork out on an Hourglass product, this is just such a great, the mirror is just blinding you, and I'm so sorry about it. Let's do something about that. This is the Unlocked palette, but this is the one from 2018, not 2019, that had the Ghost packaging. This is the nice shiny gold packaging. The thing I love about these palettes are that you get to try almost the whole brand. You get to try their highlights, their blushes, their bronzers, and their very famous finishing powders, all in one product that is much more affordable than if you were to buy 6 of their full-size products. You get to try so much in one, and these finishing powders, their ambient lighting powders, are again very unique to Hourglass. There's not really anything else like it from other brands out there, certainly not that do it as well as these. Their blushes are just glorious, and again, I feel like these palettes represent what Hourglass is. So if you want to try something from Hourglass, if you pick this up, you'll know if the brand is for you or not. If you love these types of finishes, if you love the textures, then you'll know that Hourglass is likely going to be a brand that you love. If you don't like anything that's going on in this palette, definitely give it a skip because it's not going to be for you. But I feel like this just allows you to try the best of the best from this brand all in one handy palette, and I just don't think you can ever be disappointed. I love this blush palette that they brought out last year. I really hope they keep these coming. I wish they would just make these things permanent because it's just so annoying every year. Everyone has to get very stressed and maybe purchase them at a time that's not convenient when they might be, you know, buying Christmas presents for other people. I wish that they would bring these out at a more convenient time for people. But that aside, this blush palette is one of my favourite blush products to use, full stop. I absolutely love it. This shade is not a blush on me at all, it's more of a highlight, but I do like mixing it with the others so it's not going to waste in there. This pink, I never thought I'd use it because I don't really like pink cheeks, but I love this shade. They're just so soft and pretty and glowy and skin-like, but just lovely, and they're very buildable. I know these swatches on my hand, because I've got a bit of colour now, aren't looking like they're going to work on, you know, medium or tan skin, but they're very buildable. So you can see there, I've just quickly built that one up. They're very buildable, very, very good. Love them. If you're going to try one thing from Hourglass, it's got to be a face palette. Next up, Natasha De Nonna. Now I know people are going to shout at me. People are going to be very much expecting me to say an eyeshadow palette. Natasha De Nonna, her eyeshadows, one of the best out there, the best going. What are you doing? And I hear you, but I'm going with her cheek palettes. I think these palettes, what are they called? I mean, they all have different names. Cheek palette, bronze and glow palette, there are different ones. But these cheek palettes, again, who has anything like this out there? I think these are totally unique. I think they are just so beautiful. These are like my favourite highlighters of all time. These are my holy grail highlighters. All three highlights in here. I don't even like cream highlights, as I said, but this one is super special. I mean, come on now, come on. I love mixing these together. I think, again, they're really beautiful for more mature skin or people with texture because they are so out of this world shiny, but they're smooth, they're not glittery, they're not chunky, they stay smooth on the skin. This tan palette, I mean, you can do your whole face and eyes with this palette. So I think, again, these are great value for starting out. What should I try from Natasha De Nonna? To try her highlights, her blush, her cream, her powder formula, all in a oneer. I just absolutely adore these palettes. They are so, so good. And like I said, I don't know another brand who has anything like this that's anywhere near as nice as these ones from Natasha De Nonna. This is her Love Cheek palette. These, when I first saw it, it's not typically my shades. There's a lot of pinky leaning shades in here. This blush is cream blush. Again, don't even like cream blush, but this blush, come on now. This Super Glow powder up here is the most gorgeous glow. Where's it gonna go? What are we gonna do here? Let's go down here. It's the most gorgeous, luminous, like hint of something blush. And when you buff it into the skin, it's not too much for a glowy blush. It's not super glittery and super shiny. It's just so gorgeous. Her Glow Impact powders, which I think are only available in palettes, she doesn't have them as singles, devastatingly. That's probably my favorite highlight formula of like all time. The Glow Impact powders are just stunning. I'd highly recommend giving one of these cheek palettes a go if you are interested in trying just one thing from Natasha De Nonna. Next up, Anastasia Beverly Hills. Now this was a tough one. They're known for their brow, well, they were known for their brow products. Obviously they have a lot of eyeshadow products. Their foundation is one of my favorite of all time, so it was very tempting to go for their foundation. But I feel like if you're going to try one thing from ABH to see if you like the brand that represents the brand, it's gotta be one of their palettes, and this is my favorite one. This is Norvina, the original Norvina. I mean, look at that. Why I'd recommend this palette over any of the others is because I love the matte to shimmer ratio in here. There isn't a shimmer in here that I don't use. I love every single shimmer. There's also perfect shimmers for every season: spring, summer, winter. What's the other one? Autumn, the one we don't care about. Lots of mattes again, daytime mattes, smoky mattes, mattes that are cooler, mattes that are neutral, mattes that are warmer. You've got everything in here. So if you really want to give ABH a go and see a palette, this is the one for me. Obviously that's going to totally depend on your personal preference for eyeshadow, but this is my favourite. This is the one for me that just does it all. I absolutely love it. One of my favourite eyeshadow palettes of all time. Represents their brand very, very well. You can't go wrong with one of these palettes. It's going to do absolutely everything that you need it to do and more for every single day of your life, you know? Next up, Fenty. Again, one that I could have chosen many, many different things. I love their foundations. I've loved their primer for a very long time. They've got great lip products. They have a really nice mascara. But for me, the product that best represents Fenty Beauty, that I think is their standout product, if I have to just pick one, is their highlights. This is the shade Afternoon Snack / Mo Honey. What I absolutely adore about this highlight is that you have the two options. This to me is the best of these palettes, this particular shade, because the more subtle shade, which is Afternoon Snack, is stunning. It's my favorite of the two shades because it's more subtle. It suits my lifestyle more. I don't want to necessarily be like looking like I've got highlight on every single day. I like this sort of glowy look, like is the sun just hitting her face right today? You know, that type of highlight. I don't necessarily want a huge amount of glitter, but with these palettes you get both options. You can have a softer, more subtle highlight, or you can have a beaming, shiny, wet look highlight. And for me, I like to use the super shiny shade for inner corners, brow bones, maybe on the bridge of my nose, Cupid's bow, and then use the softer one the rest of my face. What I also love about these highlights, I think they're great value for money. You get 2 lots of 3.5 grams in here, last you a very long time, and they actually work with every skin tone. There is so many different options of this. As we know, Fenty is so good for catering to different skin tones, and so few brands have products like highlights that will work on any skin tone. This is particularly perfect for me when I'm more tanned in the summer, and I find it really hard to find highlight that works and doesn't leave a cast, doesn't look too light on me once I get a tan. And this is just absolutely perfect. Yeah, I can still use it in winter. I feel like shade wise, they just absolutely nail it. I love their packaging. I think it's so easy to use. I love the fact that you can tone it up or tone it down depending on your mood. An absolute standout product from Fenty. And now for an oldie but a goodie, MAC Cosmetics. Now, MAC has definitely been taking some hits lately. People are definitely sort of moving away from MAC and kind of getting bored and saying they need to revamp and they need to move forwards. But one thing from MAC that has really never lost its place in everybody's hearts, it's their lipsticks. If you have never tried anything from MAC, if you are, you know, starting out in makeup, or you have a teenager who wants to buy their first higher end product, a MAC lipstick is pretty much where every single person starts, isn't it? So here are some of my favorite shades. This is Morange. Oh my God, I mean, one of my all-time favorite lipsticks. This gorgeous, deep, rich, creamy orange. One of my all-time favorite everyday shades, down to an art. One of their newer shades, just the perfect everyday peachy nude. And then an absolute classic for every skin tone, Coral Bliss. Absolutely gorgeous, just so easy to wear, so spring summer perfect. Absolutely love it. MAC has a shade for everybody. It has a finish for everybody. You cannot go wrong with matte lipsticks. I don't know anybody who doesn't totally love them. They're an absolute classic. I have about 50 of them upstairs. I use them all the time. If I'm just throwing a lipstick in my handbag, it's guaranteed to be a MAC lipstick. I dearly love them, and I feel like as long as stuff comes and goes and MAC may come back from the dead, or they may continue to go down the sort of lost its way road, their lipsticks, I believe, will just always be there. They'll always be a staple for beauty lovers. And last but not least, Laura Mercier. One of my favourite brands. Absolutely love Laura Mercier. Tried a lot from them over the years. I definitely could have picked their blushes. I love their blushes. They are gorgeous. They have some beautiful shades, beautiful finishes in there. But there's one thing I feel like Laura Mercier, she nails it out of the park, and it's foundations. Wrong way round, you moron. Flawless Lumiere Perfecting. If you want like full coverage, glowy, beautiful, beat skin, one of the best foundations out there. If you want Am I Wearing Makeup, gorgeous tinted moisturiser, an absolute golden product. I love both of these. They are both staples in my collection. They cover all bases for me for what I want on a daily basis, and they are just gorgeous, glorious products. I think if you want to pick up something for the first time from Laura Mercier, there's a foundation from her that you're gonna love, whether your preference is supernatural, sheer, everyday skin, or full beat glam. She's got a beautiful option for you. I think she has great undertones, Laura Mercier, as well, so that's always helpful, especially for me because I have weird undertones, and she's one of the brands that I actually managed to find good, decent shades in, so that is really, really important for me. And yeah, can't go wrong. Either of these for summer, depending on what you're looking for, will see you through. And there you have it. Those are, in my opinion, the standout, the flagships, the holy grail from these 10 brands. The products I feel like you should pick up first. If you've never tried a brand, these should be the products that you dip your toe into the water first, because you just can't go wrong. I'd love to know what yours are down below. I know people are going to be screaming at me because this is such a subjective topic. I know lots of people are going to disagree, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think people should pick up first from these brands and why. And also let us know about brands that I didn't include, that you have lots from, and that you know what is the first product you should get from these brands. I'd love to see you in the next video. Take care for now. Bye 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 bye.